format under Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022. The public can join the meeting remotely by telephone by dialing 1-408-650-3123 and then using access code 942-845-549. Or you can join via computer at global.gotomeeting.com/join/942-845-549. So supporting materials for this evening's meetings have been provided to members of the commission. They're also posted on the town's website, and the public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. My name is Michael Garland. I'm chairman of the Conservation Commission. And before we get started, let me confirm that members who will participate this evening, our president can hear me. Tom Fallon.
Present.
Michelle Colros.
Present.
Megan Langley.
Present.
Jesse Averka.
Here.
All right. And this meeting is being recorded by Auburn Cable Television. So we have no public hearings this evening. We do have a number of items that do need our attention now. The first item on our agenda is certificate of compliance for 17 Willis Street. Mr. Fallon and I went out to the property a few weeks ago, saw the building, saw the work that had been done. There was an issue of a washout from the back of the building going down the slope towards the wetland, and we addressed that with the owner. However, having looked at the property and having looked at the plan for the construction, it appeared that the work that was performed there is in compliance with the notice of intent. So are there any other comments? There being none, is there a motion?
Make a motion that we issue a certificate of compliance for 17 Willis Street.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, it's a vote. All right, you were all set, sir?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next item is, there was a request for a certificate of compliance for 10 Auburn Hill Road. As I indicated at the last meeting, I have a personal relationship with the former owners of that property, so it's inappropriate for me to be involved in that determination. So I'm going to step out, and I'm going to turn over the meeting to Mr. Fallon.
Okay, fellow commission members, after the site visit at 17 Willis Street, Jesse and I went over to 10 Auburn Hill Road. Now that request was going back, what was it, 43 years was the original? Yes. And then there was something at 40 years. Now, we walked around, being familiar with that site, that we did do a site visit about a year ago to some abutting property. It doesn't seem like there are any major issues there, any wetland issues we'd be concerned about. The ground's stable, it's overgrown, and I don't see any reason why we wouldn't want to issue a certificate of compliance for 10 Auburn Hill Road.
Okay.
So I have to ask, is there a motion?
I have moved to issue a certificate of compliance for 10 Auburn Hill Road.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote.
Also on our agenda is apparently Mr. Storinovich is here. And would that be you? Why don't you come on up, sir? So, yeah, please, go ahead. Yeah, have a seat. So why don't you tell us what you want to do?
All right, I am looking to replace my existing dock with a new dock.
Okay.
260 Bryn Mawr Ave.
Okay.
I guess right now I was mostly looking to get a better understanding of what materials I can use, specifically if I can use pressure-treated lumber, and what I'm allowed to do for the footings.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so Mr. Storinovich, we don't give advisory opinions. I will say that I think for the project that you are proposing, even though you're replacing an existing deck, it's something you would still need to file.
Sorry, dock, not deck.
I'm sorry, a dock. I meant to say dock. But in order to replace that dock, you would still need to file something called a request for determination of applicability and basically submit with that, and that form is available on the website.
Yep.
And basically just in that, excuse me, in that request, just describe the project that you want to do. Obviously, it helps if you have an engineered plan or some sort of plan showing, you know, what, in photographs, what's there now, and then what you're proposing to use to replace it.
Is there anywhere I can see what are like restrictions on whether I can use concrete for footings and stuff like that? Or do I just submit it and then see what happens?
I mean, well, when most people submit to us, they talk to probably an engineer, someone that has construction experience. Not, and I say that not because I want to add to your cost, but if you have questions about what you can do, it probably makes sense to speak to a professional about it.
So I was planning on working with my uncle who works for the DEP in Connecticut and just sort of following along what they do. I know that's not the same as Massachusetts, but
Our suggestion would be that you file a request for determination of applicability, because we do have jurisdiction over a dock replacement. And once we get that request, we can, you know, we'll review it. We'll probably go out to your property and take a look, and then we'll see what happens after that.
I just want to, aren't our bylaws on the website? I think our bylaws are on the website, right?
They are.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
So our bylaws are on the website, that you could probably use that as a guideline.
It's tough for basically novices to do this type of work. I mean, people will submit, but I think in this case, given the fact that you are talking about a replacement as opposed to something different, it probably makes sense to confer with someone that has some experience, and it sounds like your uncle does have some experience. And then when you submit your proposed plan to us, then we can review it, and we can make recommendations and go from there.
Can I file the notice of intent at the same time then, or is that two separate processes?
It's a separate document if you want to go to.
I have both documents.
Okay. I mean, again, depending on the scope of the work that you're proposing, a notice of intent may be a more appropriate document than the request for determination of applicability. Some people, when they file with us, believe that they can argue that they don't have to file a notice of intent, that if they do certain things, they're not required to do the full-blown application process. But again, depending on what you're proposing, a notice of intent may be a more appropriate document to file.
I guess I was just assuming because it's in the water, the Wetlands Act applies. So that's why I wasn't sure if I should just skip the first one and just go right to the notice of intent.
You can absolutely. I mean, again, if you, in fact, again, depending on what you're proposing, you could file a request for determination, and we could find that, in fact, we would make a positive determination, and you would have to file a notice of intent. So if there's any question in your mind, you're probably better off to just file the notice of intent, submit the supporting documentation, and we'll put you on the agenda as soon as you're ready to file with us.
And is there any chance I can just have one of you look over the plans after this meeting to see if you have any advice? No? Okay.
Sorry, we don't. People will ask us for advisory opinions, and we can't do that. Okay?
That's good. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you all.
All right, so the tale of 25 Vinyl Street. So last week, Jesse sent me an email, and apparently there is a contractor was putting in what appear, and if you can bring those pictures up, Jesse?
I don't think I can pull them up on this computer.
Oh, okay. You had them before?
So that was for a different property.
Oh.
That was the Southbridge Street one.
Oh, so that's actually a different issue.
That is,
Okay, so, All right, so let's talk about 25 Vinyl Street. So apparently what happened is that someone started a project involved, that was within 100 feet of the wetlands. They attempted to put in erosion control measures, but obviously they didn't file with us. And so we went ahead and and I filed an enforcement order after Jesse went out to the property. And we, at that point, advised them to file a request for determination of applicability. Have you had any contact from either the owner or the contractor since they were served with the enforcement order?
So I sent the order to the owner and I sent it to Little Diggers, who is the contractor. I spoke to someone from Little Diggers before I actually mailed out the order. They said that they would be getting back to me. They were out on the road when I talked to them. Back, but I do know that they received the order as we did certified return mail and we did get the slip back. So, I mean, they are aware that they shouldn't be doing any work there.
Okay, do you know if the work has stopped?
I have not gone back by. no.
Right, well, I think we should try to maybe do a swing by at some point, maybe over the weekend. So why don't we do this? Why don't we continue 25 Vinyl Street to our next meeting, which will be on August 23rd. But in the meantime, can I get a motion to ratify my issuance of the enforcement order?
I make a motion that we ratify the enforcement order.
I'll second.
Okay, is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 It's a vote. Okay, all right. So Southbridge Street is a totally different kettle of fish.
That is, yeah, that's something that I hadn't been out there until earlier today. And then that's when I mean, those pictures I can pull up.
Okay.
The thing is, I mean, legally, we're only really supposed to put PDFs online, I guess because of something with the ADA, the Disabilities Act.
What?
That's what the IT department has told me. So that's why I specifically sent emailed myself these pictures from that so that
All right, well.
Do it
we don't
outside
wanna
of the
get in
meeting.
trouble with the government, so considering that we are acting on behalf of town government. But, there they are, so what the heck? They're up. So apparently, as I understand it, their National Grid may have an easement across a parcel of land in Auburn. Apparently, a contractor was hired and they proceeded to put in a wooden road, which is bizarre to me. The owner claims that he had no knowledge of it, that he didn't authorize it. They clearly didn't file with us. National Grid never, and National Grid is good about giving us notice when they do things. They didn't give us notice about this. So, I mean, I think an enforcement order is called for. We don't know the name of the contractor, correct, or do we?
I know the name of the contractor.
Okay, you know the name of the owner?
I do know, yeah, I do know the name of the.
So I think like just as in the situation with Vinyl Street, I would suggest that we issue an enforcement order to both the owner of the property and also the contractor.
What's it for? What's,
So this is just to give, I mean, I don't know what their plan long-term is, but it's to give grid access to this tower that they're
Oh,
utilizing.
it's like those temporary platforms, only it's
Yeah.
more, it looks more like a boardwalk. You know, like those wood things they put down to try to not get stuck in the mud?
In all likelihood, they'll probably be removed after the work is done.
I would imagine so,
I
yeah.
don't recall ever getting notice about this, do you?
No,
are those poles, is it the work that we told them that they could do a long time ago? That they said that they were gonna be doing? I think that those are the poles that we.
Those
told
smart
them that
poles,
they could
yeah.
put in. But we didn't tell them they could put in a wooden road.
Well, I mean, I can understand, and it makes sense now that we're talking about it, that it's a temporary means of access, and I would imagine those boards will be coming out.
Right.
So it's not a permanent
I think we
alteration.
told them that they could do work on those poles. Like, I remember National Grid coming to us, telling us that they were going to be doing those poles.
Okay, well, I still think we should have gotten notice.
I think that they should have advised us that they were gonna be putting in a wooden road.
So I would imagine that National Grid would have given the property owner
Some kind of a
some
heads
notice.
up.
They would have told him they were doing that.
I think that you should say, yeah, some kind of a letter saying, maybe not, like, hey, you're a jerk, you never told us anything kind of letter, but you probably wouldn't do that, right? I would do that, but you wouldn't do that.
Well, I mean, depending on the circumstances, I could do
You
that.
may, but yeah, maybe not like that, maybe something
I'm
else,
sure I could, frame
something around,
you
yeah,
know, that sounds,
a little bit better.
legally
Yeah, okay,
sophisticated.
okay.
Yeah, right. I think what we need to do then is we should probably follow up with the property owner and ask him if he did in fact get notice. And I think, Michelle, to your point, it's possible, maybe even likely that we did tell them they could do it. But, I mean, like, to your point also, this could have been, what, a year ago?
Probably 6 months to a year
I don't
ago.
recall them coming before us, this year.
No, not this year. It was like last year. I'm
So-
gonna say definitely 6 months to a year ago that we said, they told us that they had this project, that they were going to be putting in this poles, it would be minimally invasive, and that, they would do this, and that it wouldn't take that much time. It was nothing about them putting in a road made of,
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, that suggests that they're going to be using equipment, obviously, to gain access there.
much heavier than what they told us they were going to be using.
Yeah, so, Jesse, if you can get me the name of the property owner? Do we have a contact at National Grid that we could also, talk to about this?
I have contacts from Grid. I don't know if they're involved with this specifically, but I can certainly reach out to them tomorrow and try to figure out.
If you could. And because they should be able to provide us with additional information. Again, it's just really a notice question. If we told them they could do it,
Yeah.
I think that's fine, but it seems to me, I think the property owner, to your point, was taken by surprise.
Yes, he certainly was. He was not happy about it. I'll say that. I can certainly look through our online file cabinet tomorrow too and see if we did get, some sort of notice at some point and see, what they specifically said and get that out to you guys.
Okay, good. So why don't we do, I mean, it wasn't even on the agenda for this evening, so if you would, make sure that that's on the agenda for the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And then we have the meeting minutes for July 26th. And there are three of us, so we do have, I'll get to that in a second. We do have a quorum, so we can't consider the meeting minutes for the July 26th meeting. I think, Jesse, looking at the discussion for 10 Auburn Hill Road, I think you should put in a sentence indicating that I recuse myself from consideration of the request for the certificate of compliance.
Yes, I can definitely take care of that.
Okay. All right, I have no other changes to the meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
I make a motion, we accept the meeting minutes as amended with that added statement regarding 10 Auburn Hill Road.
Okay, and is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. 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 And Megan, I think you have to abstain.
Same.
Okay. And then I think the last thing is this notification from National Grid of utility maintenance. Is it possible that, I see that there is a location for Southbridge Street. Is it possible that the location that we just discussed is this or is on this letter?
It is certainly possible.
I
Excellent.
was looking at that too.
Well, that's right. I think you're right.
So maintenance.
But if you look at the discussion or description of ground penetrating radar, it does talk about it being performed on existing tower footings. So I don't know. I have no idea if in all likelihood,
Yeah, but it also talks about, didn't it talk about, yeah, UTVs?
right,
Accesses within the wetlands is either conducted on foot or through a use of low ground pressure vehicle.
right, but it doesn't talk about putting in a wooden road. So in all likelihood, it's not the same thing, but, okay.
Hopefully I can get in contact with someone from Grid tomorrow and clarify that.
Okay, very good.
Sir.
Is there any new business? There being none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Who opposes that? It's a vote. All right, everyone, thank you very much, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.